everybody, this is Graham, also known as the Collector75. Welcome to another Transformers Marvel UK Generation 1 comics review. Right, so this is part 23, and we are dated here the 1st of April 1989, still at 35 pence. Now, this I'm going to go up to about issue number 220 with this one. Now, you'll notice the decline of the comic around now. Obviously, the toys were, not selling as much and everything, and obviously sales were down and so forth. And so, naturally, what happens to any comic? Well, we'll come to those issues as we get there. Anyway, right, so here we are. So, number issue 211. This is just after the events of... what was that storyline called? Can't remember now. The Underbase saga. We have the Pretender Beast. So let's crack on. That dodgy transformation page there, which I really don't like. And here we go, the Man in the Machine. This issue deals, I think, with Spike Witwicky, or was it Buster Witwicky? The one who's binary bonded to Fortress Maximus. I think this is just where he really doesn't want to be binary bonded to him anymore. Fortress Maximus is lying dormant inside the Ark, and he keeps getting called by everyone. Meanwhile, the Decepticons have created the Pretender Beast with Carnavac and Snarler. Now, this does fly in the face of the UK continuity, of course, and I think it did have to word some of the things just to fit in, because obviously Carnavac had just come out of Time Wars. And everything like that, and yet, so they're going after him as an easy way of going after Fortress Maximus, I suppose, something like that, or they're being tested, something like that on Earth. Yeah, that's about it really. Not much happening really there. We got Dread Tidings, Stock Exchange, Bumblebee and Cosmos, good condition swap, Cinderstar and Sparkstalker. Yeah, I suppose that's not a bad deal. We've got Visionaries. Knights of the Magical Light, couldn't get into that one, I'm afraid. And we've got an A to Z. Wow, we haven't seen them for a while, have we? We've got Metroplex there. And we've got Action Force backup strip, an advert for the Target Masters on the back, and the second part of our US story. There, and Combat Colin. Now then, here we go. We're going to go issue here 212. Don't lose your head. Here we go with the second part. Now they're on the trail of Spike, because obviously they're detecting him as a Transformer, because he is now binary bonded. He's trying to escape. I think he manages to mentally call to Fortress Maximus. Here he is stepping out of the Ark, and he's going to come and rescue him, and he takes down the Pretender Beast. But I think at the end of the story he still basically does, so it's a nice little calendar there. Yeah, at the end of the story he still does say he doesn't want to be, but if need be, he'll be on call, something like that. Can't remember. Not really that bothered really, but it does sort of set up events for the end of the actual series of Generation 1 sometime in the future. So you could tell that well, actually no, I think Bob Dempsey was still writing that, so you probably forget what I was saying. More Dread Tidings, the Mighty Marvel checklist. We've got another A to Z here. I can't even turn the page. Nope, it's just a classified, and then Action Force. So I'm trying to get through this before my battery goes, so I would like to get this done. Anyway, as you can see now, the next week splits into 3 stories, no words, so obviously they couldn't pay anybody to write the next issue blurb. It does make a comeback, but not for now. Now they're trying something different. They're going to go for 3 different stories. I'm not totally sure, and we go back to the classic transformation page, which really does help, if you want my opinion. We have a US strip running alongside a British strip. We have Guess Who the Mechanibals Are Having for Dinner. This is set out in space. Dreadwind and Darkwing are now working for these aliens called the Mechanibals, who just happen to eat mechanical life. Now, they've sent them some pretenders, because obviously then they won't realise that they are mechanicals, because they don't like them. But they do have a lot of microchips, which the Autobots need to repair some of the Autobots that were decimated during the Underbase saga. Yes, and there is a reason why they've got a lot of microchips. We have a new Dread Tidings page, that looks pretty cool now. And now we have the Fallen Rise of the Decepticon Empire. After the Time Wars, Megatron steals the Decepticon Mayhem Attack Squad's ship and returns to Cybertron. where he finds that the Decepticons in control have really let themselves go. They don't really care about trying to win the war or anything like that. They just set themselves up as tyrants, and that's about it. It's nice. I can't remember their names now. Is it Octus, Caesar, and somebody else? And they're just holding sort of gladiatorial games with any captured Autobots. And they said, well, what happens if you run out of Autobots? Well, then we can use our own troops, which the Decepticon Triggercons ain't too happy about. They want to, you know, be fighting the Autobots. And then, just lucky enough, Megatron turns up, and you can tell here they're happy because they're going to throw Megatron into their arena. Now you can tell this actually was supposed to be a one-issue story because it just sort of abruptly ends there. And then we've got more A to Z, and more, who we got now as a backup strip. Oh, it's Visionaries. Yeah, I'm not really into the Visionaries, never could get into it. I saw the cartoon once, not that fussed about it. There we go, got Combat Colin, and I said the next week just has a couple of pictures. And we've got an issue, Doctor Who Voyager. And so we go into the next week's issue, issue 214, the second part of all these stories. And so the Mechanibals do sort of like find out that these are in fact Transformers and they want to eat them. Mainly because we have Dreadwind and Darkwing here using their Nebulan counterparts to interact with the Mechanibals, so the Mechanibals don't actually find out that they're robots because they would have got eaten. Now here we go, see they're the Mechanibals and they're going to do a deal with the Autobot Pretenders. Megatron here does fight his way through the gladiatorial fights and basically is about to get shot in the back by this fella here when the Triggercons decide to take down their would-be leaders, and then they all hail Megatron as the new leader of the Decepticons. And this is it, they basically go out and sort of like spread the Decepticon word. And he knows, look at this, his power has risen again. Before he was rash, prey to the fatal allure. This time he will control the power, patiently building it towards his ultimate destiny. As Galvatron, ruler of the universe, because he knows, obviously he went through the Time Wars, he knows that he's going to become Galvatron in the future. But this does lead to a massive continuity area which we're going to deal with the next time we return to Megatron on Cybertron. Yeah, quite a big, massive continuity error. Anyway, we have Visionaries, all the usual stuff, Combat Colin next week. As you can see, we're just sort of rattling through these stories now, and then we come to here. Yes, another drop in quality. Now we'll get to it in a minute. We have the transformation page. We've got the Mechanibals Part 3, basically dealing with it. And they do find that the reason why these Mechanibals do have a lot of microchips is because they come from all the devoured robots that they've been eating, and they find that they really can't use them, you know, all that malarkey. Yeah, a bit silly if you ask me. I'll just use the bloody things, because there you go, they're not doing too much with them, are they? And then we've got Motormaster and Octane A to Z there. And now we have Race for the Devil, and as you can see, we have gone back to black and white. Cost-cutting measures have really bitten into this comic now. They did try to say it was supposed to be that way, which is rubbish because it's obvious, because every subsequent story after that, every new British story was all in black and white and it was horrid. If it would have been me, sometimes I think, if you're going to do that, you're just literally saying, you might as well just cancel the comic right then because it will just put so many people off, and it probably did. If you want my opinion, it probably lost so many readers by doing that, and you know, it is stupid. So anyway, Race with the Devil, this featured set after this Mechanibal story, even though it hasn't actually finished yet, with Dreadwind and Darkwing on the run from the Mechanibals, being hired by someone else who they don't know. They haven't got a clue who they've been hired by, to track something on the planet, or on planet Earth, the same as Dogfight and the Trigger bots are going after as well. They don't actually know what it is yet that they've been hired to find, which is a bit strange. They've just been given like an energy signature or something like that. And we have Visionaries. Yeah, not really too interested in them. And advert for Strike Now, some more Action Force vehicles on the back there, and Combat Colin. There we go. And back with issue number 216, staring death in the face. We're about to find out who it is they're after. So here we have the Mechanibals. I think basically they do find out that they're sort of like these robots. Yeah, oh my dear, it's terrible. And they do find out they're robots and they're going to eat them. Yeah, I'm not that bothered about that storyline, to be honest with you. More Dread Tidings. And here we have Race for the Devil Part 2. So we're all being tracked to Earth. I think that woman was out something before, one other story, I can't really remember. But they've tracked them here. Nice calendar there. Deaths featuring Death's Head. We're going to turn the page. I've got to do this before my finger runs out of power. And they do find out what they're going to... Here we are, and it's Starscream. Still alive, even though he's literally a walking corpse. Kept alive by the vast energies of the underbase. And we're going to find out how he survives yet again. So there we go, and to the next issue. Not that at least that's been coloured in. It won't be coloured in for the next issue, believe me. So we're going to go with issue number 217, and now this gets my vote as probably the worst ever Transformers cover ever. I mean, I can't draw to save my life, but I'm sure I could draw better than this. I don't know who knocked this up, but they should be fucking ashamed of themselves, if you want my opinion. I mean, maybe they couldn't actually get an artist for it and the editor did it who couldn't draw. That is probably the worst cover I've ever seen. Anyway, that's enough of that. A J Hall. J Hall, you should be bloody ashamed of yourself. Anyway, so the Cannibals about to eat them. They do escape in the end and all's well. Dread Tidings. And so Race for the Devil, Starscream. Can't really speak or anything like that. Some nice artwork by Andrew Wildman. I'll give him that. I did like the way he drew Starscream in this. I think this episode does end with, I think it's either High Test or High Q, or whatever the names are, siphoning off the underbase energy to give to Darkwing and whoever it is, Dreadwind, and taking all the energy away from Starscream to allow them to transport the body back to whoever it is that's hired them. They still don't know, or I think, well, we're not supposed to know anyway. It's more of a... I'll come to it a bit later on. I think I'll explain about why certain stories are appearing before they've appeared in the US strip, but there we go, I'll come to that a bit later. Dogfate Skylinks incoming, some more Mechanibals. As I said, they do get through with it. Actually, I don't think they do, and they go to some other planet that's got some energy things, microchips that they're after. But these humans here are about the same size as the Transformers. It's a really dull story, believe me. But we do have Race for the Devil Part 4. There we go, there's Starscream still trying to kill everyone. And I believe, where's the bit? Here we go, they siphon off the energy. He falls down to the ground without now all that power, and they take him back. And that's about it. It wraps up right there. Dread Tidings, Visionaries. More next issue. We're going to find out what happened to Skids after he's been in limbo for such an amazing amount of time. Right, so here we are, issue 219. We are now at May 1989. Now it has risen to 38 pence and has dropped the colour. Fantastic, that's what I like to see. Anyway, right, so this story features Skids, and now he hasn't been seen since he disappeared long ago in issue 101. And then we're going to find out exactly what's happened to him. So anyway, so we open up. We are still with the title, Recipe for Disaster. Yeah, really dull story, if you want my opinion. Just these strange bald-headed lazies. She's not bald-headed, but she's got all hair in one bit. Going after the Pretenders, who can take all their armour off, and appear mainly human, until they find out they're actually robots inside, and she doesn't like it one bit. An advert for the Micromasters. Obviously that was an attempt to combat, is it Galoob's Micro Machines? On the whole, they weren't too bad. I mean, at the time I think I bloody hated them, but they do add quite a novel little thing to the collection. Anyway, right, so here we go with Survivors. Now, these were pretty obviously named Survivors of Time Wars. So featured some people like Skids, Inferno and something like that. Anyway, so he has now been returned to Earth after Galvatron got forcibly returned to his own time thanks to the rift, but due to his prolonged stay in limbo, some of the strange creatures that inhabit it have managed to form a psychic link and actually bridged and come back with him to our reality, who he's on the run from. Now he sort of like says, oh my god, the world's going to end and everything like that. But we do have Karnavac and Cantilla turn up, who basically say, you know, we want to join the Autobots, sort of thing, something like that. Because obviously they're not going to be used anymore in the US story. They featured in their one little story which was to showcase them off. So Simon Fern probably thought, well, some good characters, I can use them here. We have Snarler featuring for some reason. I think he says, I'm not siding with any Autobots, and then he goes back to Cybertron to tell the Decepticon hierarchy there that obviously they've got 2 deserters on their hands. And so forth. Then we have Visionaries. And then an advert on the back for 10,000 volts of flavour with nerds. Yeah, I couldn't get into them. And then we're going to final issue of this part, and here we have issue number 220. 3rd of June. Oh, you can see they've made, I don't know if you're going to pick that out, they have made a sort of like a bit of an error there. And you can see they've coloured in the part of the end to make it look like an R. I don't know how that happened, who knows. But here we go, that's not quite a shocking cover really, someone holding up a head like that, that's a bit like out of Mortal Kombat. But you can get away with it because they're robots. Anyway, yeah, so she don't like it that this guy who she quite fancies has turned out to be a robot. Still, there we go. But eventually she forgives him and gives them all the microchips they need, or whatever they need. They're not too happy, and look, we've got the Mechanibals after them there, old Dreadwind and Darkwing. And that's it, we've got an A to Z of Omega Supreme, and then we're back with the UK story Survivors. Yeah, that's it. I think that's old GB Blackwell there, by the looks of him. Either that or it's Commissioner Gordon, because he did look like him. A nice calendar for May 1989. And then we see that's what's been happening since issue 101. And here we go, see all the monsters are now attacking him. And they're about to meet into all the survivors of the Time Wars. So we've got more Dread Tidings. Stock exchange here. Wanted, Shockwave and Megatron. Swap Scorponok and Skullcruncher. That a good deal? Yeah, possibly. Not sure about the Skullcruncher though. Wanted, Hound, Ravage, Rumble and Frenzy. Swap, Smokescreen, Air Raid, Bumblebee and Sea Spray. Not sure about that. Yeah, not sure about them. Let's have a look. We've got Divergent Paths for the Action Force story. And then we have, there we go, we've got Micromasters, an advert again. And then we've got the next issue. Now, what is this leading you to believe? Things couldn't get worse for this comic. It's starting to get worse already, and it doesn't stop there, unfortunately. Right, so this has been Graham, Collector 75. This has been issue number 220, and I'll see you all next time in part 24, maybe, whatever it is. Right, okay, see you then. Bye for now.